That's me back in my primitive child stages. I shouldn't have done it, but I was just irritated, tired, and high, and pissed off.
Yeah.
Happened.
I'm still glad you did it, to be
I don't
honest.
want to hurt nobody.
At just 15, Mike Tyson, with dreams of becoming an amateur boxing champion, found himself facing Carl Williams, an older boxer known for his bullying. Tyson, defenseless at the time, was taught a harsh lesson by Williams. Fast forward a few years, and Tyson had become the undisputed champion. In 1989, they again faced off in the ring, with Tyson seeking revenge. What did Mike Tyson do? Who came out victorious in the end? Join us as we go down the memory of when Mike Tyson met his childhood bully in the ring. A score to settle. Settle it on the line like men is the famous American man code for men to fight and settle a grudge. For American boxer Carl Williams, alias The Truth, and the famous Mike Tyson, it was about to come to reality. A few years before the significant bout in 1989, Carl Williams and Mike Tyson were sparring partners. According to legend, on the first day of meeting Mike Tyson, Carl Williams was told by Cus D'Amato, who was Mike Tyson's manager, not to hurt his boy. D'Amato had pleaded with Williams because Tyson was still young and in his amateur career. However, Tyson had other plans. He entered the gym, and when it was time to spar, he gave Williams a bloody nose. Williams was mad because he thought they were not trying to hurt each other. He reiterated that Tyson came at him like he had cursed his mother, but he would teach Tyson a lesson. The next day, Williams came into the gym for another sparring session, and he threw the young Tyson blows that he never forgot in a long time. As a result, the second session was almost a beatdown for Mike Tyson. The young boxer avoided fighting Williams for as long as possible till he could no longer avoid their bout. There was no running away, and on July 21, 1989, the two bitter rivals would settle their old grudge in the ring. But before then, who were these two heavyweight boxers, and why was so much emotion invested in this match? Mike had a very rough childhood. By the age of 13, he had been arrested 38 times, and his juvenile detention center counselor and former boxer, Stewart, thought he would be an outstanding fighter. Stewart trained him for a few months before introducing him to boxing manager and trainer Cus D'Amato. By then, he had dropped out of high school. Tyson's mother died when he was 16, leaving him in the care of D'Amato, who would become his legal guardian. This kicked off his amateur career. As an amateur, Tyson won gold medals at the 1981 and 1982 Junior Olympic Games, defeating Joe Cortez in the first year and beating Kelton Brown in the latter. 2 years later, he won the gold medal at the Nation Golden Gloves, held in New York, beating Jonathan Littles. He started his professional career when he became an adult, fighting as many as 15 bouts in his first year. The following year, Tyson had already won 26 of his 28 bouts by knockouts or technical knockouts, and 16 came in the first round. Williams, on the other hand, grew up in South Jamaica, Queens. After dropping out of high school, he worked at several jobs, busboy, truck driver, steel grinder, that offered little promise of a well-financed life, making him look towards boxing. In the basement of his home, Williams installed a heavy bag and was soon doing road work along the streets of South Queens. Soon enough, he was packing up wins. Many people had seen that he was a natural. He already had the attributes of a fighter, long arms, height, and was ready to go all the way. After 6 months of training, Williams went into the New York Golden Gloves, where he won the sub-novice class as a heavyweight, and then the following year, he won the open class. Soon enough, he had 22 amateur fights before he moved on. Fast forward to 1982, William turned pro for a group of businessmen known as World Class Enterprises, which Berlingo put together. Berlingo became the manager and trainer of Williams, collecting about 15% of the fighters' purses. Fighting at the Felt Forum, Williams won all 8 bouts in his first year as a professional. He continued his advance through the rankings until he had won 16 straight bouts. During this period, he met Mike Tyson. In 1989, Tyson was no longer the amateur Williams knew. He was a worthy professional who was 36-0 with 32 knockouts and the heavyweight champion. Whether Williams knew it or not, he was the subtle underdog, and he was going to need more than his bodily advantage to beat Tyson. 93 seconds before lights out. After Tyson's dominating victory over Frank Bruno 5 months prior, the bout he dreaded the most was on his heels. The negotiations for a potential fight between Tyson and Carl Williams began. Before the significant fight, Williams had won his 5 straight matches, and Tyson was on another level. Williams fought for the heavyweight championship once before, but lost in a close 15-round decision to Larry Holmes in 1985. His other loss came in 1986 in a second-round knockout by Mike Weaver. Managerial and personal problems kept Williams out of the ring for about 2 years, until he returned on June 1987 with a victory over Burt Cooper. But this was when he had been waiting for a direct shot at the heavyweight title and a chance to beat an old rival. It was a very important match for the Jamaican native. Williams was 22-2 and ranked number 1 by the International Boxing Federation. The 2 main events stood in front of 11,000 spectators and a host of media members who desperately wanted a story about the unbeatable Mike Tyson. Williams bounced around the ring, trying to study and size up his partner for the best place to strike, while Tyson watched quietly and a little too still, like a tiger looking for the perfect time to strike. Standing at 6'4" with an intimidating 14-inch reach, Williams started throwing stuffed jabs at Tyson. He had thrown several while Tyson continued to duck and wait for an opportunity to strike back. Just 93 seconds into the match, the tables turned. Williams had thrown a jab and missed, and Tyson capitalized. The young champion dove underneath it and surged upward with a left hook that caught the challenger flush on the jaw. Williams went down in a heap, the back of his head bouncing off the bottom strand of the ropes as the crowd roared in affirmation. Their champion had done it again. In the same arena, Tyson had delivered the same deadly uppercut in the first round to Michael Spinks 390 days earlier. Some observers thought Spinks might have beaten the count that night, but he did not even try. However, Williams' situation was different. He had a personal beef with Tyson and would not give the young man the satisfaction of knocking him out in the first round. Williams struggled to his feet at the count of 7, but referee Randy Newman, not liking what he saw in Williams's eyes, called off the match, declaring Tyson the winner. The fight became one of the most controversial because Williams kept protesting. He disagreed with the referee, reiterating during his post-match conference that he was ready to fight again. Williams was mad because there were matches where he went down early and went on to win the game. He had been floored 7 times in bouts with James Quick Tillis, Jesse Ferguson, and Mike Weaver, but had managed to come away with victories over Tillis and Ferguson. According to Williams, the referee had asked him to put up his hand and if he was all right. He wanted to get Tyson by any means necessary, so he told the referee that he was okay. However, the referee still went on to end the fight. Williams was unhappy with the result and accused the referee of premature stoppage. While Williams kept ranting, the referee had a different story, so he ended the match. He had asked Williams if he was all right and did not get a reply the first time and the second time. The referee also noticed his eyes were blank, so he stopped the fight because the injured fighter was concussed. Williams could not answer a simple question verbally, so why would the referee put him back on? Williams's trainer, Carmen Graziano, was on his guy's side. He believed the referee canceled the match because he wanted Mike Tyson to win. While Tyson and his team continued pushing their controversies, Mike Tyson seemed unbeatable. While the United States media did all they could to push Tyson's unbeatable narrative, everything changed just a few months after fighting Williams. The unforeseen aftermath. Due to the controversial nature of his fight with Tyson, Williams and his manager, Ira Leibowitz, urged the WBA, WBC, and IBF to change the ruling Tyson victory to no contest. Williams was not going down without a fight, so the duo demanded a rematch between the two heavyweight boxers. However, all three boxing organizations and Tyson's camp refused a Tyson-Williams rematch. They asked Tyson to earn his rematch by knocking out a few good fighters before the possibility of getting back in the ring with Tyson would happen. Soon enough, echoes of the Tyson versus Williams rematch would fade into the shadows, and the undisputed champion moved forward. He would face Buster Douglas for a successful title defense, and his opponent awaited him. After the fight, Tyson held the WBC, WBA, and IBF titles, respectively. He was seen as the #1 fighter in the world, pound for pound. Although he had troubles in other aspects of his life, he did not let them affect his performance in the ring. On the other hand, his opponent Douglas was ranked as the 7th heavyweight contender, so Tyson was heavily favored. There was no way Douglas would beat the unbeatable, everyone thought. But the unexpected happened. Douglas had 6 consecutive wins in the match, including victories over former world champion Trevor Berbick and future world champion Oliver McCall. In the time leading up to the fight, Douglas faced several personal setbacks, including the death of his mother, Lula Pearl, just 23 days before the fight. So, emotions were at an all-time high. No boxing analyst wanted to talk about the possibility of Douglas beating Tyson. Everyone expected to see another 90 seconds or less knockout. Some analysts even compared Tyson's pet, a white pit bull, to Douglas's pet, a beagle. According to them, the fight was over before it even started. But Douglas had some tricks up his sleeves and would prove himself to the world. Douglas bounced confidently around the ring in the middle of the Tokyo Dome, ensuring Tyson knew he was not afraid. Early on, the underdog was not afraid to throw punches. He used his quick and accurate jab to prevent Tyson from getting inside, where Tyson was most dangerous. Whenever Douglas saw an opportunity, he threw a punch. When Tyson tried to get inside, Douglas tied him up, moved away, or immediately hit Tyson with multiple punches as Tyson came within Douglas's range. The underdog was ready, and in the second round, he hit Tyson with a deadly uppercut. After Tyson recovered from the jab to his chin, he got back to punishing Douglas, but it did not last long. Douglas kept throwing subtle jabs at the champ till he got the better of him. Soon enough, Tyson's right eye started selling from taking multiple punches, and he could not see his opponent well. Tyson's corner was unprepared. They were so sure that Tyson would beat Douglas that they did not bother to bring any ice packs or ends well, which were standard ringside equipment, regardless of the fight. They had to make do with a latex glove filled with cold water, as they were confused about the outcome of the ring. Tyson was not up to the task this time around. However, his corner continued to cheer him up, giving him the same advice they had given at the beginning of the bout. Tyson could not counter Douglas's game plan, and Douglas had won the match in the 8th round. He threw punches from the beginning to the last few seconds of the round. In a desperate move to get Douglas away from him, Tyson sent a deadly right uppercut, sending Douglas to the ground, but the underdog managed to get up at 9. The 9th round was a war zone. Both boxers were desperate. With swollen eyes, Tyson tried to fight to save his title, but Douglas did not back down either. He threw some jabs, and Tyson's right eye closed completely. Both men traded punches before Douglas connected on a 4-punch combination that staggered Tyson back to the ropes. When Douglas saw Tyson's state, he closed in and kept throwing punches, hoping to knock the heavyweight champion to the ground, but Tyson survived the bell. In the 10th round, the odds were now against the champion. Tyson wobbled and struggled to push forward as he still had problems with his sight, and his body was shocked by the punishment he endured throughout the match. As Tyson moved forward, Douglas started throwing punches again, sending a few jabs before throwing an uppercut that sent Tyson's head back. That was enough to stop Tyson and render him powerless. Douglas quickly followed through with 4 punches to the head, knocking Tyson down for the first time in his career. Tyson tried to get back on his feet like a champ, but the referee counted him out. Buster Douglas became the new undisputed heavyweight champion, getting one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. After the upset, Tyson's corner, led by Don King, protested Douglas's win, stating that the new champion should not be recognized. However, their protest fell on deaf ears. The fight between Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson became famous because why not? Here are a few more of Mike Tyson's fights that broke the news. Mike Tyson versus Orland Norris. The fight away from prison. After spending some time in prison for assaulting 2 motorists in Indiana, Tyson was paroled, and he quickly went back to boxing. Though several heavyweight contenders, including Michael Moorer, Shannon Briggs, and Axel Schultz, were considered possible opponents before his time in jail, former WBA cruiserweight champion Orland Norris was chosen to fight Tyson. Norris was in line to fight Tyson while still the undisputed champion. However, his 1990 loss to James Buster Douglas prevented the match. 9 years later, Norris got his dream fight, even if he was way past his prime. While the two tried to battle it out in the ring, Tyson came prepared. He was the aggressor and needed to solidify his stance as a major contender despite his prison stints. Tyson dominated and had Norris on the defensive throughout the first round. Sadly, it was the only round. All Norris could do was prevent any of Tyson's strong blows. After the bell sounded, Tyson landed a left hand that dropped Norris to the mat. As a result, referee Richard Steele deducted 2 points from Tyson on the judge's official scorecards. For the second round, Tyson was already in his corner, waiting for Norris to make his way to the middle of the ring so that he could finish his work. But Norris was not going to come back. He signaled the referee, telling him he could not continue the match because of a knee injury. As a result, the fight could not continue, and it was ruled no contest. Tyson was disappointed because he thought Norris was faking it. He had to be restrained from confronting Norris. After the match, Tyson accused Norris of faking his knee injury to get out of the fight without recording an official loss. He publicly announced his desire to meet Norris in December of that same year in a rematch. Norris maintained his innocence, claiming he had fallen on the wrong knee. Like Norris, Tyson faced another controversial contender who was either afraid to fight him or trying to play him. Mike Tyson versus Andrew Galat, the deadly headbutt. After the no contest ruling, Mike decides to move on. He talked a bit about the situation. Then he had his bout with Enugu. Both men came into the fight with reputations as dirty fighters. Galata's 2 most notable fights were against Riddick Bowe, where Galata was disqualified for hitting Bowe below the waist. However, the Truth Foreman was determined to fight clear this period. During the fight, Tyson shows who the boss is. He landed several aggressive punches on Galata within the first 30 seconds of round 1. But Holly quickly closed up as he used his left jab and height advantage to defend himself. During the final 30 seconds, Tyson became more aggressive and threw 2 big right crosses at Galata, one of which connected. The latter responded by holding him to slow him down, but the referee broke it up. Immediately after the referee moved away, Tyson was able to send a powerful right cross, sending Galata to the mat. At the end of the first round, Galata had a cut just above his left eye, and he could not continue. He asked his trainer to stop the fight. Since his trainer refused, Galata was back in the ring for the second time, and Tyson was out for blood. He continued charging towards the bleeding opponent, throwing punches and jabs to knock him out while Galata held on to him for survival. Although Galata tried to get back in the game and fight, he had nothing on Tyson in round 2 and finally gave up. Between rounds 2 and 3, Galata told his corner he would not continue and began walking across the ring. Despite pleas from his corner and the fans, he refused to continue, causing the spectators to go into a frenzy. They hurled garbage at the chosen contender as he walked towards the dressing room. Tyson was restrained from attacking Galata as he wanted them to finish the match. Later on, it was discovered that Galata was suffering multiple injuries that influenced his decision not to continue. At the hospital, it was found that Galata had suffered a concussion, a fractured left cheekbone, and a herniated disc during the fight. The fight was ruled a technical knockout victory for Tyson. Regardless, it was later overturned to a no contest as he tested positive for marijuana. The Michigan Athletic Board of Control also suspended Tyson for refusing a pre-fight urine test and only taking a post-fight test. Maybe if he had been tested before the match, he would not have been allowed to participate in the first place. His aggressiveness was influenced. In his post-match interview, Galat might have also suggested that Tyson confronted him in the locker room, sending a headbutt contributing to his injuries. However, nobody knows what happened, as no video evidence supports his claims. Tyson got a shot at the heavyweight championship title 3 years after his controversial fight with Galat, but something was different this time. He was no longer on top. The first time as the underdog. Former undisputed champion Mike Tyson was about to face the reigning champion Lennox Lewis, and for the first time in a long time, he was the underwhelming underdog. The fight was delayed because Tyson and Lewis could not stop confronting each other in public spaces. About 2 years before the slated date for their fight, Tyson gave an in-ring post-fight interview after defeating Lou Savarez via first-round TKO, and he had a lot to say to Lewis. Tyson suggested in his interview that he wanted to eat Lewis's children, and the interview went down as one of the most infamous in boxing history. Just a few months before the newly slated date, Tyson went on stage at the Hudson Theater and starred in the direction of where Lewis was to appear for a press conference. He was about to assault Lewis, but his bodyguard jumped in, blocking the attack, and paid dearly. The two boxers rolled on the floor, and personnel from both camps got involved. After the brawl, Tyson appeared to throw profanity jabs at some people watching who appeared to be on Lewis's side. He also admitted to biting Tyson's leg during the brawl and was fined $335,000. Finally, the bout was slated for June 2002, and it was about to go down as the greatest. The referee for the fight was Eddie Cotton, officiating his 20th world title bout. Alfred Bukwana of South Africa, Anek Hongtongkam of Thailand, and Bob Logist of Belgium were appointed as judges, as the WBC and the Tennessee Athletic Commission wanted judges from different continents. Among the celebrities in attendance were Samuel L. Jackson, Denzel Washington, Tom Cruise, Britney Spears, Clint Eastwood, Ben Affleck, Hugh Hefner, Halle Berry, Richard Gere, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Vince McMahon, The Undertaker, LL Cool J, Tyra Banks, Wesley Snipes, and even future United States President Donald Trump. This was before he knew he was going to be president. Lewis and Tyson got to throwing hands in front of more than 15,000 spectators. They both got their hands on each other through the first round with a back-and-forth display. Just before 30 seconds had elapsed, Tyson leaned forward with a left jab at Lewis, then lunged towards his midsection, landing a right and left combination of body blows before Lewis fired back with 3 accurate uppercuts to the face. However, Tyson's consistent aggressiveness landed him a first-round win. Lewis was more aggressive in the second round, landing more blows to Tyson than the other way around, including several powerful uppercuts that kept Tyson staggering backwards. By the fourth round, Tyson had a massive cut above his eye, and Lewis capitalized. The defending champion landed 2 strong jabs before landing a big right. With 10 seconds left in the round, Lewis landed a couple of punches on Tyson, who went down. Referee Eddie Cotton ruled it a slip and deducted a point from Lewis for pushing Tyson down. The famous American boxer was already bleeding, and his face started swelling, making it difficult to see through the rest of the match. Tyson was already weak in the next round, as he had suffered enough punishment. He was still standing, but he began throwing fewer punches, and Lewis dominated. With just over a minute left in the round, Tyson was able to land a couple of shots that had created swelling just below Lewis's left eye. After the 6th round, Tyson had sustained bloody cuts above both his eyes. Through all of these, Tyson was still standing like the champ that he was. Lewis once more was a dominating force, with what was little resistance at that point. He landed 31 punches compared to Tyson's 4, but the American champ still stood. In the final round, Lewis had his breakthrough with only 47 seconds to the bell. He hit Tyson with a heavy right cross, knocking him to the canvas and down for the second time in the round. Tyson lay still on the mat while the referee counted him out. There was no attempt to get back up, and Lewis was declared the winner by knockout. By this time, Tyson had sustained a negative narrative about what he had said during his interview. It was like he struggled to filter his words and vomited the first thing he put together. The things said before his fight of the year with Donovan Ruddock would go down as one of the worst in boxing history. Tyson versus Ruddock, twice beaten, one brawl. Mike Tyson fought Jamaican-born Canadian pugilist Donovan "Razor" Ruddock twice. In their first meeting in March of 1991 in Nevada, the two fighters were the top two ranked contenders for the WBC, WBA, and IBF World Heavyweight Championships that were at the time held by Evander Holyfield. The bout was a 12-round championship eliminator fight, with the winner becoming the mandatory challenger to Holyfield's crown. The duo was supposed to fight 2 years prior, but Tyson was sick, so the fight did not happen. Before the main event of '91, Ruddock had won 25 of his first 27 fights, with his only defeat coming at the hands of journeyman David Jacko early in his career. He had also defeated former world champions Mike Weaver, James Bone Crusher Smith, and Michael Dokes. With all of Ruddock's records, Tyson was ready. When D-Day came, they started strong, hitting each other with jabs and throwing punches. Then, in the second round, Tyson hit a very controversial knockout. He sent a left hook to Ruddock's shoulder, and the latter tripped over Tyson's leg before falling on the mat. Referee Richard Steele awarded Tyson with the knockdown. But the United States champion did something stupid. He punched Ruddock illegally, and Steele separated the two men. Although Steele did not deduct Tyson's points, he got another knockout over Ruddock in the third quarter. After hitting Tyson with a straight left hand with less than 10 seconds to go in the round, Tyson countered with a powerful left hook to the side of Ruddock's head that again sent Ruddock to the canvas. The latter stood back up until he could no longer continue in the seventh round. Tyson was able to hit Ruddock with a six-punch combination. When the referee had seen enough punishment, he got in between the two fighters and separated them. Then he went on to award Tyson the victory by technical knockout. The decision taken by the referee angered some people, as it was deemed premature. To express their displeasure with the decision, Donovan's brother, manager, and promoter stormed the ring to confront the referee. At the same time, Mike Tyson's trainer, Richie Giacchetti, tried to de-escalate the situation. Soon enough, a brawl ensued in the ring, and security personnel and local law enforcement officers had to step in to resolve the situation. They escorted the referee away from the scene. The Ruddocks pushed for a rematch, and 2 months later, it was granted. Tyson and Donovan met again in June, and the United States champ knocked his opponent twice and won the unanimous decision. During one of the interviews leading up to the rematch after the brawl, Mike Tyson, nicknamed Iron, had famously promised to make Ruddock his girlfriend. While Tyson had all these controversial moments, the best was saved for last. Here is what we know about his fight with Holyfield and why it was nicknamed the Bite Fight. Tyson versus Holyfield, the Bite Fight. Before their rematch, Tyson and Holyfield had fought 7 months prior in Las Vegas. Tyson was making his first defense of the WBA championship he had won from Bruce Seldon in a first-round knockout, while Holyfield was the underdog entering the match. Holyfield dominated the game in a surprising turn of events and knocked Tyson down in the 6th round. By the 11th round, Halpern, the referee, thought he had seen enough and gave Holyfield an upset victory, which angered Tyson's camp. When the second fight was fixed, Halpern was again assigned to be the referee. Tyson's management objected, with the official reason being that they wanted a different referee for the rematch. They believed that the referee had a problem with Tyson since he looked away in the first round while Holyfield butted heads with Tyson. At the end of the day, Halpern withdrew from officiating the match as he did not want to be a distraction, and veteran referee Lane took over. Holyfield won the first 3 rounds at the beginning of the United States heavyweights. During the rounds, Tyson complained of Holyfield's headbutts, and upon review, referee Mills Lane stated that the headbutts were unintentional and non-punishable. When the 3rd round was about to begin, Tyson came out of his corner without his mouthpiece, almost like he had something in mind, but the referee ordered him to put it back. Tyson inserted his mouthpiece, got back into position, and the match resumed. With only 40 seconds left, Holyfield held on to Tyson to prevent him from continuously attacking, and Tyson pounced immediately, latching onto his opponent's ear and almost biting it off. A 1-inch piece of cartilage was torn from the top of Holyfield's ear, which Tyson spat out onto the ring apron. Soon enough, the ring officers attended to the bleeding boxer wincing on the mat and cleared him to continue fighting. In another stupid rage, Tyson tried to bite off Holyfield's second eye when he caught him, but the heavyweight threw his hands and got away with a scar. When the referee noticed that Tyson attempted to bite Holyfield's ear again, he ended the match and disqualified Tyson. After the match was stopped, Tyson went on a rampage at Holyfield and his trainer Brooks while they were still in their corner. The organizers had to bring security to protect Holyfield from getting attacked again. After the match, Holyfield told the press that Tyson bit him because he knew he would get knocked out, and he chose to lose in a disqualification instead. It was a very unexpected moment in boxing history because never in a million years would anybody have thought that Mike Tyson was capable of such a level of violence. Tyson apologized to him in recent years, and the duo even starred in a skit about the bitten ear. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.